Why do so many men choose to live alone now? Because they have realized that if they can't meet a good woman, it's better to be on their own. At least they can live 2 more years. Living alone, although lonely, is peaceful, without betrayal, without disappointment, without sadness, without having to feel heartbroken every day, and without the need to take care of others at home and outside. The main thing is that there's no anger anymore, and when the mood improves, illness naturally decreases, sleep becomes better, and meals become satisfying. Every day feels. Life is wonderful.
Why don't I chase after girls anymore? There's a saying, pursuing a woman is like climbing a mountain, while pursuing a man is like passing through a thin layer of fabric. And this saying makes a lot of sense. For example, when a man finds someone he likes, even the shyest and most reserved guy knows how to investigate discreetly, ask friends to gather information, and find ways to pursue her. That's exactly what Wang Lei did. He's a straightforward guy who spent nearly a year in college trying to win over a classmate. During that time, he tried every strategy: giving flowers, gifts, buying her breakfast, saving her a seat in class, and sending messages at the same time every day. But her response was always indifferent. Even when Wang Lei mustered the courage to confess his feelings, she neither accepted nor rejected him. She just said she wasn't ready and needed more time to think. After more than 6 months with no progress, Wang Lei finally gave up, ending his one-sided crush that lasted over a year. These days, many people ask, why do men give up halfway? Why don't they persist? I think that when a man chases after the woman he likes, he fears hardship, but what he fears most is having his efforts ignored. He's not afraid of failure, but what really scares him is seeing his mistakes become a joke. He doesn't mind waiting, but the worst thing is waiting without knowing if there will ever be an end. Men stop chasing because they understand that persistence without a clear goal is just a way of wasting their emotions and time.
Nowadays, many girls are complaining that men are becoming increasingly stingy. They not only no longer take the initiative to pursue girls, but even when in a relationship, they are reluctant to spend. These men deserve to be single for life. Observing many male netizens' comments, I've noticed that a lot of them would rather treat their buddies to dinner and drinks or buy gifts for their mothers than spend money on women, feeling that today's women simply aren't worth it. I think many of these opinions are quite representative. Let's listen to why men nowadays are no longer willing to spend on women. I hope some girls also have a bit of awareness and that when they meet the right person, they cherish them and don't cause trouble. First of all, it's about the perception of pursuing women. Nowadays, many men believe that using the word pursue is incorrect. They think that what is achieved through pursuit isn't love. What matters is mutual attraction between men and women, which is true affection. Relationships that come about through a man's material offerings are seen as transactions, where if there is mutual interest, both should pursue each other. If you're not interested, don't start. No one should waste each other's time. If some men still want things to be like in the past, where they were the backups, they can stay where they feel comfortable. Especially those who like to test a man's sincerity based on how much he spends, they should stop thinking that way. Everyone is finding it difficult to earn money right now. To pursue a girl, going out for meals, watching movies and giving gifts can cost 2,000 to 3,000 a month, and the problem is that you don't see any prospects. In most cases, it's money wasted. In the end, it's possible that the man doesn't even get to hold the girl's hand. After awakening, many men feel that this type of relationship isn't worth it. Many guys believe that going out to eat or watch movies with a girl who isn't interested in them doesn't mean much. There are girls who, even when they're not interested, still enjoy the man's spending, accepting dinners, movies, and gifts without refusing. But when it comes to confirming the relationship, they say they need to take it slow and think about it. In the end, the man has invested a lot of time and money, and the girl just says it's not a match and walks away. This behavior of such girls is seen by many men today as that of sluts or scammers, especially those who ask for red envelopes or gifts before the relationship is even confirmed. You're not even the guy's girlfriend, so why make such demands? What do you all think about the fact that after their awakening, Chinese men are no longer willing to spend on women? If there are any thoughts, let's discuss them in the comments section.
I never like to categorize people as rich or poor, capable or incapable, or to rank friends into different levels. It's just that too many people like to devalue themselves. You know? I'm not afraid of you, not afraid of everyone laughing at me. To be honest, in the past decade, you might lose 99% of your friends. I'll tell you, if you feel very impressive right now, it means your circle is too small, and you need to change it. The level is too low. If you feel insignificant, it means you mostly belong to an upper middle class circle or even a higher one. Let me tell everyone why I always force people to reduce social interactions. I mean reducing ineffective socializing, which is downward socializing. Upward socializing is a must, you know? Many people ask me if upward socializing is just about flattery. I'll tell you, truly wealthy and capable people don't bother with that. You know, if you really are, if you have no value at all. What is value? First, you can provide emotional value, and second, you can offer upper limit benefit value. I'm telling you, capable and wealthy people will not waste any of their time, energy, or emotions on you unless you have value. In these years, many friends have invited me to dinners or gatherings, but I rarely go, and I almost never attend. First, I don't drink. Second, I don't smoke. To be honest, I'm a bit introverted. Don't put me on that front line. I'm saying, anyway, I'm really introverted, because I deeply understand that when you say one more word, you want to show off. When you say one more word, you want to flaunt. There are very few people who truly wish you well. But I'll tell you, if you want to socialize with people at a higher level, there's no one who doesn't wish you well. You can't believe it's true, but down here, there are very few people who wish you well. This statement, many people can understand, and many can comprehend. I'm telling you, right now, I feel very insignificant. Recently, I met a friend who works at the beauty salon upstairs, Liu Shu. He's quite successful. To be honest, being with him is very comfortable. Why? No matter his financial power, he can outdo you. But he always maintains a very humble attitude when interacting with you. I'll tell you, he has the strength to crush you. But he just hopes to provide you with help in business and emotional value. Being with him is like enjoying tea, very comfortable. The reason I give this example is to let everyone know that when you socialize upward, this is what I want to say. The wealthy big brothers who are richer than you all wish you well. Why? They also hope to support you, and they get another wealthy friend. At the very least, they won't be in a position where they have to lend you money, and I really feel this is true. Do you imagine this principle? Many people ask if online socializing is about relying on flattery. I'll tell you, truly wealthy and capable people don't eat that stuff. If you can't provide productive value or emotional value, and if you have neither, they will not spend time and energy on you. The time and energy they spend on you could create more value elsewhere, yielding greater benefits. So, if you currently lack the ability to socialize upward, I advise everyone to reduce socializing, improve yourself, strengthen yourself, protect yourself, and not waste time on low-level pleasures and trivial joys. Those who can understand this are the impressive ones. The older you get, the more tea you drink. In the past, I used to go to hot pot restaurants alone, and I couldn't let go of my concerns for others. Now, I eat and feel very comfortable. As I get older, I drink wine alone, just by myself. Brother, I don't know if you feel this way. Once, when I was going through one of the toughest times in my life, I was invited to a drinking gathering. I thought these people could be considered friends. So, I talked about how difficult my life was, and the setbacks I faced. In the end, I became a number. Actually, all relationships in life are just parting and memories. If you're a friend with a car, you definitely have a habit. You'll spend 20 minutes in the parking lot, play an old song, listen to that music, and then light a cigarette. In fact, this is what we men do for ourselves. Why do we feel lonelier as we grow older? Actually, drinking tea is simple. Drinking tea teaches us that people come and go. It makes us understand how to pick up and let go. Isn't everything in this world about picking up and letting go? The complexities of life can be summed up in 3 cups of wine, and great achievements can be contained in a pot of tea. There were 3 old men. The first was Huan Wen, a great general from ancient China. When he went north, he planted a small tree. More than 10 years passed. When he returned victorious, that small tree had already grown into a large tree. Many of Huan Wen's friends, like fallen leaves, began to wither. So Huan Wen embraced that tree, cried out loudly, and wrote a famous line. Life is like this. What can we bear? The older we get, the more we witness the decline of old friends. Right now, I have some friends in my WeChat who have already passed away. Sometimes I still send them messages, and when I don't get a reply, it really can give me a scare, but they always remain in my heart. When Lin Yutang was over 80 years old and teaching in Taiwan, one of his students came up and said, "Professor Lin, how about having some candy?" Lin Yutang reminisced about the candies he had when he was a child, and tears streamed down his face. "My childhood is gone. My youth is gone. I can't hold on to anything. After going through hardships." When a young female journalist interviewed Shen Congwen, he spoke eloquently, telling about his tumultuous life. Shen Congwen turned history into literature. His love was unfortunate. After the female journalist finished listening, she suddenly made a request, saying, "Master Shen, you've lived such a hard life. Can I hug you?" As a result, Shen Congwen hugged this female journalist and cried uncontrollably. Those who have cried, where are you? Those who can still smile. Everything is celebrated with a toast in wine. Chinese men are being collectively abandoned by capital. If you don't believe it, just look at how many festivals capital creates for women throughout the year. Valentine's Day, Goddess Day, 520, Qixi, Singles Day, Double 12, plus Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, not to mention various birthdays, anniversaries, and that's not all. There's even the first cup of milk tea in autumn. However, in contrast, capital in China doesn't even want to glance at men. It seems that, aside from Father's Day, men don't really have any festivals to showcase. But the problem is, if men can celebrate Father's Day, women also have Mother's Day. So, if you think about it, it seems Chinese men have never had a festival that belongs exclusively to them. And the reason for all this is very painful, because capital is truly ruthless. Everyone knows that in the consumer market, there has always been an invisible hierarchy of disdain, where purchasing power from high to low is women, children, the elderly, pets, and last, men. You see, men are really living worse than dogs. It's not an exaggeration to say that. When women celebrate, casually buying a lipstick or a bottle of perfume, it could very well cost what men would spend on underwear over the next 7 or 8 years. Men's money is really hard to earn. So capital can only influence women's festivals all over the world, making men spend money on women. But do you think that's all? Of course not. Compared to celebrating a few festivals, these are superficial matters. In this regard, capital has really destroyed Chinese men to the last drop. That is marriage. You must understand that. In the eyes of foreigners, marriage is the elevation of love. But in China, especially for Chinese men, the word marriage is indeed too heavy. To get married, they stay up late working overtime. 996 consumes youth, losing hair day and night. The money earned through such hard work might not even be enough for marriage, let alone life afterward, and raising children. In China, the prerequisite for marriage is that you must have a house and a good car, right? But you have to have at least one. And that doesn't even include the dowry. Just these 2 things are enough to drain an ordinary person's savings for many years, not to mention the retirement savings of their parents. And you also have to commit to repaying the mortgage for the next 20 or 30 years. In some areas, if you're not a rich second generation, or if your family has no money, you might not even be able to marry, no matter how well educated you are, how talented you are. how grand your ambitions are, or how excellent your grades are, as long as you're not a rich second generation, and your family lacks a background. The resources you can obtain in society are really almost zero. And many times, resources are everything. Now it's 2023. And who knows when houses will become as cheap as Ma said they would be. As for the dowry issue, we might still have to wait for a new generation of mothers-in-law to grow up. So, in the end, you will find that many Chinese men don't dare to travel, don't dare to change jobs, don't dare to spend money on themselves. And even when they get sick, they don't dare to go to the hospital. I can only say that capital is truly ruthless.
A couple of days ago, I posted a video saying that there are 100 million single women in China. In the comments section, some people said, what about those 100 million single women? Aren't there even more single men? Yes, there are more single men. What was said above refers to single women who don't want to get married and don't want to have children. Why are there so many single men? There are many reasons. Some men are unwilling to get married and don't want to have children. Why do they feel that they don't need women? And why don't they pursue women? There are three aspects to consider. Let's start with the first aspect. You see, nowadays, when dating, going out to watch movies and eating, isn't it always the man who pays? Haha, even though they say men and women are equal, when it comes to dating, it's always the men who pay. You say you want a free relationship, and after dating for 2 or 3 years, right before getting married, because of dowries and houses, it falls apart. So, the money that the man spent over those years is basically wasted, right? This is one reason that makes men unwilling to pursue women or get married. Now, what's another reason? Due to another reason, let's say, after getting married, if he has to support the family, think about the mortgage, think about expenses, and consider the costs of raising children, he has to calculate everything. When he gets paid, he can't just spend freely. First, he has to take care of the mortgage and other expenses before he can have any left for himself. If a man doesn't earn money to support the family, let me tell you, people will start to talk about him. But if a woman stops working, what does she do, right? No one talks about the woman. If a man stops working and lets a woman support him, people will easily gossip about it. If a woman doesn't work and lets a man support her, that seems justified. If a man doesn't work and lets a woman support him, that doesn't seem justified at all. This creates a lot of pressure on men and is also one reason why they are unwilling to get married and pursue women. Now, let's talk about a third reason. The third reason is quite common in rural areas. What is it? Poverty and lack of ability. Look at how realistic women are nowadays. They want dowries, they want houses, they want cars. If you can't build a house in the countryside or pay this dowry, you simply can't find a wife, unless you are exceptionally good at talking. Let me tell you, in some cases, women might have their first love, and perhaps they are not completely deceived. Maybe they appreciate men who don't ask for their family conditions. There are some cases that work out, but the majority don't. Today's girls are much more realistic than when I was young. I'm over 40 now, and I was naive back then. I didn't ask for anything. I said I would have a simple marriage and even contributed financially to my husband. After we got married, my husband was doing business, and all the money was his earnings before marriage. Back then, many were like me, asking for nothing. But today's girls are very realistic. So, from these three aspects, we can see that men today are unwilling to pursue women. Some men might even say, why should I spend money to find a girlfriend? I might as well go out and pay for a one-night stand. It doesn't cost much. So, there are people in society who think this way. Alright, that's all I want to say for now. If you have anything to discuss, let's talk about it in the comments section.
Why don't some men want to pursue women anymore? Sorry, but few women today are really worth pursuing. Society feels off, it's increasingly demanding of men and more lenient with women. Women easily demand a car and a house without hesitation, while playing the victim by saying, if I get married, I'll still have to have kids and do everything else, as if they're making some enormous sacrifice. Sorry, but in that case, just stay single. I'm someone at the bottom of society. No house, no car, and honestly, I don't feel worthy of marriage. I don't expect a woman to be perfect, gorgeous, with an ideal body, or living up to some fantasy. I also don't need her to be a perfect housewife who does everything and still shines in public. But at the very least, I expect some understanding. I don't earn much, and for us to live together, we'd need to save money and avoid unnecessary expenses. And what happens then? When they see others buying things we can't afford, their first reaction is to blame the man for being incompetent or not trying hard enough. Men already carry a lot of pressure at work, but when they come home, instead of finding support, they get even more stress. Why don't you spend more time with me? Why are you gaming again? Why don't you give me more money? Honestly, it's rare nowadays to find a woman who doesn't add to a man's worries. The relationship market in China has become like a marketplace where men and women are treated like goods. It's no longer about feelings, but about prices. Everyone is doing the math, thinking about profits rather than building something genuine together. So I ask, how many women today are truly good partners? What I see around me are people who look perfect on the outside, but behave like vampires, draining everything they can. I want to know your opinion about the awakening of Chinese men. What do you think about this topic? If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more dilemmas like this. See you in the next video.